All right, this thread has gotten pretty long, but I need to tell the world about this. My cousin and I used to vacation with one another's family. One year, as a teenager, he met this girl and hooked up with her on the beach. Most people would understand vacation romances stop when you leave the beach. She didn't. She continued to call and email and IM him 15 times a day. She confessed his love to him and was planning on moving to Pittsburgh just to be with him. Obviously, this wouldn't be cool with his girlfriend at home. Anyway, a couple of weeks after we came back from vacation, he and I devised this plan to get her to stop calling and emailing him. I called her up one night and told her that he was taken to the hospital with a football injury. A blood clot that formed while he was in surgery went to his head, and he died on the operating table. I may or may not have left this on her answering machine. The next day, after my cousin left for school, his mom got a call from this girl's mother, expressing her deepest sympathy for the loss of her son. Holy crap, did my aunt lose her shit? She thought something had happened when he was driving to school or something like that. She called my mom, and they had a huge screaming match with my cousin and I. In the end, I had to call and apologize to this girl and her mother and explain that what we did was wrong, etc. So that night, I sat down to call her in front of my mother so she could verify I actually did it. I dialed my own phone number, which obviously went right into my voicemail. I carried on a 10-minute half conversation with my voicemail, crying, apologizing profusely, making my mom cry in the process. And that was that. He and I never heard from her again. He and I talk about it every now and then, between ourselves, but nobody else ever knew about it.
That is brilliant, you stone-cold motherfucker!
I sucker punched a kid in middle school after he accidentally hit me in the face with a basketball. I only did it because my friends pressured me into it, and he was a slightly bigger nerd than I was. 22 years later, and I still feel like shit about it. Jeremy, if you read Reddit, sorry man. At least I was a weak little pussy back then.
Dude, Jeremy killed himself in front of his classmates. Didn't you see the Pearl Jam video?
When I was 2 or 3, my babysitter chased after me and slipped, hit her head on a table and bled to death. So I've killed a person, I guess.
Holy shit. Do you remember it at all? Were you and she the only ones there?
No, but my mom told me when she was drunk once, when I was still really young, maybe 6 or 7. I was too young to remember it. Yes, we were home alone. My family doesn't like to talk about it. It probably is worse than my second choice, dumping a girl by leaving her at a Hooters.
It's not your fault.
When I was little, my family used to play a game in public places where we competed in identifying the most grotesque-looking person. When I was around 9 or so, we went to a theme park with just an obscene amount of the morbidly obese. The game was going great, and being a little kid, I started getting a little too enthusiastic. I spotted probably the fattest person I've ever seen in my entire life. I knew that this one was going to win me the game, so at the top of my lungs I shouted, "Look at that fat man! He is so fat I win!" I am literally unable to describe the pain in the look he gave me. Even as a kid, I knew I had overstepped some sort of boundary. Jesus Christ, looking back now, I still cringe. Like I had destroyed any vestige of self-worth he had left in one horrific incident. My dad is an asshole for coming up with that game.
Was it Harold? No, don't say that. He's not a fat man. He's a fat boy.
When I was little, I pissed in my older sister's hair. It was her fault, though. She wouldn't give up the Nintendo.
When I was in 6th grade, we had a teacher who would keep female necessities in her classroom. One day, this girl asks during an activity the teacher to step outside of the classroom so she could talk to her. We all started talking to each other about what they were doing, and right as they both walked in, I said, real loud, "Ha ha 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 ha." She probably started her period. The girl proceeded to run back outside crying, and the teacher sending me to the principal's office. I felt so bad.